Holy crap. 5 penny stocks exploding higher as we're currently 41% cash in one of the most profitable days ever. But the obvious question for most of you is, since my last video on Thursday with the Qs up more than $40 and a 45% bagger in SanDisk, is the bottom finally in, or are we going to retest the lows? Let's go to the charts, ladies and gentlemen. 12-month of the Qs last trade, $698.09, up $11 and a whopping 42 from where we were buying it at $656 after hours. If you recall, in my last video, I told you 80%, if not more, of the correction was over. Not one of you, including the clowns on CNBC, believe that. We went even lower in the after hours. If you were inside the Discord, congratulations. We added for our retirement as low as $656 in the Qs. And in case you missed the open, I told you in my last video, and I even did a chart that I'll go to in a second, that if SanDisk goes down under 1,000, it's a buy, and you could have done just motherfucking that. SanDisk, last trade, $12.85. It was trading in the after hours down here at $9.74 and change. You could have sold it the very next day, Friday, near $14.25. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you return the favor to a guy who's got a 96.2% win rate for almost 1,000% return in the last 12 months? How many of you joined us in the pinned comment below? Not a single one. You could have had more than 40 points on the Qs for your retirement. You could have made 45% in SanDisk in less than 24 hours. And if you missed the open of this fucking video, we had not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 core holdings, and we only trade 7 pop off today, giving us a chance to go from a little over 10% to currently 41.5%, to be exact, cash. In other words, the whole world could come to an end. And there's a lot of smart technicians, including fundamentalists like Ray Dalio, who are saying we're going down big time. The great Tom Lee's been off a bit lately, saying we're going down 20% before the midterms. If that happens, bring it to us. How many of you sold 5 stocks this morning and raised 41% cash? Made almost as much money today as you've ever done in the last 3 years combined. I'd venture to say none. Back to the charts we go. 45% on the bag there. The low is obviously 975. That's your marker. We could retrace. More on that in a second. 699 and change. All right, so what do we have right here? Well, we've got the bullish crossover on the daily stows. That already took place. We're threatening to do so, and that histogram right there, which are those red and green bars, has been under the zero line since early June. In other words, short term, we are massively oversold. And this market has everything to do with 2 things, ladies and gentlemen: the direction of interest rates and the price of oil. And who controls those? None other than Taco Trump, or as I call him, Taco T. The war's on again, it's off again, it's on again, it's off again. We've gotten calls, my fucking ass you have, from the rest of the world telling you to lay off. It's all about the 10-year. Anytime it goes up and over 4.7%, they want to back off. Oil north or near $100, they want to back off the hostilities, if you will, and give the market a chance to bottom. So it's potato, tomato, up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little, most likely heading into the end of September. And fun fact of this day, can you believe 5 fucking sales? Huge amounts of money made. One guy just sent me a DM. He made $34,000 today. You could have had the very same in 3 of those 5 holdings if you'd have joined me last week. So how much longer are you guys and gals going to wait? You think you're fucking me in the ass by not pulling the trigger below? I've made enough money to last 10 lifetimes in the last 2 or 3 years. I'm trying to help you. And despite the fact that my own team, more than 90%, totally checked out, totally incapable of a thank you, even on a day like this, I press forward. Because I know there's at least 100 and some odd people already in there, and maybe a few hundred more that are watching me right now that want to make more money than you ever dreamed possible. You've been spinning your fucking wheels. You have nowhere near close to a 96.2% win rate. You haven't averaged 500% returns 3 years in a row, have you? And do you have a system that combines ETFs like the Qs, and you only buy during drawdowns of greater than 10% like last Thursday? In the same account where you trade small cap stocks, many of them under $1, and I'm going to show you one that starts with a V as in Victor, so don't go anywhere. No, you don't. You don't have anything of the sort that's literally stacking cash to the ceiling. Triple digit gains every fucking year since we opened our door, and something tells me that's not going to change. So when this short video is over, 50% off your first month, cancel anytime at smallbiztrading.com. That's smallbiztrading.com. All right, let's go back to the charts. We've got a bullish crossover. We've had that now on the daily stows. You're threatening to do the same on the MACD. Where's there going to be resistance on that? Now flattening out. It was sloping down, so that's bullish. Right there at 714 and change, that's the upside. If something goes really wrong, as I just said, with interest rates and or the price of oil related to Iran, we're coming back down. And in fact, I will give you the low on Thursday night, 656. I'll give you a 35% chance we're going to test and even break that before we typically bottom in a midterm year, October 5th. There's been 17 midterms since 1957 when the S&P 500 began, and the average low in a midterm year like this, October 5th. And that would include Bitcoin and Ethereum, 3 years up, 1 year down, takes us into the first week of October as well, which means you need to be prepared. And what better way to do that if you were with me than with 41% cash? The whole world could go to shit tomorrow. Is it going to affect us? No. We'll be sitting there with our buy zone limits saying, come to Papa, give it to me. And if it doesn't come down and we continue to move higher, then we'll fucking keep on selling. And I'll probably be 50 or even 60% cash. But don't you want to know, in closing, don't you want to know what I'm going to buy with all that money? Well, chances are it's going to be very similar to something that I'm about to show you. Back to the charts we go, ladies and gentlemen. VSEE. We sold our third lot way the fuck up here at 0926. If you're in the Discord, you know that to be true. Don't give away any symbols if you show up in the comments tonight. Just tell everybody how fucking rich we're getting over the course of the last 3 years, and it's soon to be the next 8 or 9 of the greatest secular bull market of human history, flying cars and trips to fucking Mars. We were rebuying the stock way down here. We had an average of 7 and very small change. We sold 3/4 of it in and around 9 average last trade, 0811. If you know anything about this particular company, the current management, and I may as well say that this is the case with most companies under $1, are absolutely positively full of shit. Their former CEO quit, as far as I'm concerned, in disgrace. That was about 3 months ago. Stock was 16 at the time. We've made money 3 or 4 times, including the most recent rebuy. So why was I selling into the move at the top today of 0926? Well, as of Friday, if you're in VSEE, yeah, it's true. They've got an LOI signed on an acquisition that could add 35 to 40 million to the top line, 6 or 7 million to the bottom, but they've been under a dime now for more than 10 days. Today's the 11th day. So the NASDAQ, if they really wanted to be a fucking prick, could delist them, and you could get news on that tonight. So because we sold 3/4 of it at close to a 30% profit, do I really give a shit with the remaining quarter that I own at 7 last trade 082? If that's the case, no, I do not. But I will say this. There's a shareholder meeting the last week of August. Normally, the NASDAQ, when they know you have a plan, and in this case they do, a maximum of 1-for-80 reverse split is being voted on. It is going to pass because of all the preferred bullshit they have going on behind the scenes, just like everybody else. So the NASDAQ, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth, is not likely to delist them because they have a plan. The plan is pass the reverse split vote. They've already got enough insiders to do that. And they have until, I believe, the 16th, don't quote me on the exact date, of September, based on their second 180-day extension they just got 5 months ago. So you're most likely going to get all of close to a 1-for-80 reverse split at some point before the end of September. And because this guy right here, the one who's got a 96.2% win rate, and I'd love to share my expertise with you for almost 10x returns on the trading side of our portfolio, I will buy that motherfucker back if it comes back down to 7, provided the NASDAQ is not going to delist them before the reverse split. Because if you've been following any of the reverses, like, holy shit, DFNS, we sold that thing at 29, aka $36 before the split a month or so ago. It goes all the way down to 3.5. Reverses at that cents, by the way, reverses at 3.5 goes all the way to 109. It was a 40 bagger. Then it dropped last week, Thursday and Friday, from 109 to 22.5. And then this morning, the last time I looked, it was halted again at 50 something. It is not always a death sentence when it comes to a reverse split. The best time to buy them, another fun fact of the day, is 1 or 2 days before the reverse and the first 2 or 3 weeks after the consolidation. About a third of the time, they're going to pull a DFNS. And oh, by the way, that's the old NUK, N-U-K-K, that went from 2 to 85 in October of 24. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, always remember that I love you. And if you want to know exactly where I'm going with that 41% cash, I would click the pinned comment below. It's 50% off your first month. Cancel anytime, right fucking now, at smallbiztrading.com.